So you're thinking of moving to the Salida, Colorado area? Well, in this video, I'm going to be answering one of the most common questions I get before people moved here is, what is the cost of living in Salida, Colorado? So you're going to want to stick around until the end because I give a complete picture of what you can expect when you move to this area and how much the cost of living will be here. If this is your first time to the channel, welcome. This channel is all about living in the Salida, Colorado area and the real estate market here. So if you're interested in that, please be sure to subscribe and hit the bell for notifications so you're the first to know when new informative videos become available. My name is McCarthy. I'm a realtor that specializes in the Salida, Colorado area, and I get calls all the time from people just like you looking to move here. So whether you're thinking of moving here in a few weeks or a few months, please reach out to me. All of my contact information is in the description below. Let's schedule a time to chat and I'd be happy to help you make a smooth transition to the Salida, Colorado area. Okay, so let's talk about the cost of living in Salida, Colorado. Now I'm going to dig into a few different categories and then kind of round it out so you have a more complete picture of what it would be like to live here. So stick with me as I go through each of those categories. Okay, the first one, housing. Obviously that's my specialty, so we're going to start there. In Salida, Colorado, the median price point is anywhere from between $650,000 and $700,000. Now we're in a really small market, so it fluctuates a little bit month to month. So for the sake of giving you just a general number, that's a good price point to consider. So that is the median price point of a home here. You can get homes for a lot more than that, and you can get homes for less than that as well. So for that range, you're looking at, if you want a more traditional 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom, 2,000 square foot house, single family home with a yard in downtown Salida, 700 might not quite get you there, but depending on the quality of the home, that traditional house in downtown Salida might cost you a little bit more. It might be in the higher 7s and then into the 8s and 9s, kind of depending on the house. Now we have the grid of downtown Salida is going to be a lot more. And then as you get out of Salida, and I do talk more about this in some of my other videos, but as you get out of Salida, the price per square foot tends to go down. So if you're looking at Poncha Springs, for example, you can get a little bit less price per square foot there. Or if you're looking at, say, a townhome, not in the grid, there are some newer townhomes you can get in the 5s. You're going to have a really hard time finding anything there's almost nothing in the 3s. And then in the 4s, occasionally you might see something pop up. So that's kind of a round number of what we're looking at here. Obviously, things can be more expensive than that. We have homes, 9s, million or more, kind of, big custom mountain homes on acreage, or if you're by the river, things like that, it's going to be a bit more. So for the sake of getting an idea of cost here, $650,000 to $700,000 is the median price point to kind of get you here. So with mortgage interest rates right now in the mid 6s is when I'm filming this video, that gets you at a monthly mortgage payment of about $3,500. That's obviously, there's a lot of variables there. So talk to a lender. I have a preferred lender I can recommend you to, and get a feel for what it looks like for your specific house. There's a lot of variables that are attached to that, but that gives you an idea of the kind of a round number, $3,500 for a mortgage, a monthly payment, if you're looking in the $650,000 range. Okay, so now let's talk about utilities of living here. So electricity, depending on whether or not you have an older home with very little insulation versus a newer home with better insulation or insulation has been put in, that will affect your electricity bill quite a bit, as well as solar. We are in an area with quite a bit of sun. Many homes either have solar panels on them or they're really good candidates for solar. So that's a good option to offset electricity. With that said, the average electricity bill would be around $100 to $150 a month. Now, we do live in an area where AC is very infrequently used. Many homes, definitely older homes, do not have AC in them. So if you're in a very warm climate and you're used to really high electricity bills in the summer because you're cranking that AC, that's not a thing here. Now, in the winter, it can be cold. And so if you have furnace or electric heat, then that's a variable as well. Many homes here have multiple heating options. So they have a furnace plus a wood burning stove. And so that would be, you'd be able to offset some electricity costs but you'd be paying for wood. So it really depends on the house and the type of heat source that you have. But like I said, AC bonus, very infrequently used in this area. Now, water, if you're on the city grid and you're on city utilities in the city of Salida, water is going to run you anywhere from $50 to $75 a month. If you head outside of town, if you don't have to go very far to be off of city utilities and be on a well and septic. If you have a property with a well, then you are not paying a monthly bill. You're instead paying an annual fee to the water district that's managing that well, and that doesn't cost too much. It's usually below $200 a year. You're reporting the amount of water that you're using. If you have a property that has an augmentation on your well, there could be an additional fee attached to that. So it's all based on water usage. And so the good thing about those properties is you don't have that monthly water bill. You just have that annual fee, but you are in charge of maintaining the well, as well as septic. Septic, you're not paying a monthly sewer bill like you would to the city, which here is quite minimal. And instead, you're just maintaining that septic tank. So more about that if you are interested in properties that do have well and septic. It's common here. If you're coming from the city, don't be scared, but it does save you money on utilities. So adding those numbers together gives you a pretty good idea of your monthly budget for just cost of living house-wise in this area. By the way, if you are finding this video helpful, I'm gonna pause right here and ask you to please give me a comment or subscribe if you haven't already, and show me a little bit of love with a like. I would greatly appreciate it. Okay, back to the topic at hand. Okay, so let's talk about some personal stuff. So groceries, that again, variance, right? So it depends on if you are, a foodie and you're getting some really gourmet option, high-end stuff versus, the budget stuff. But just loosely, I spend anywhere but a few $100s. Let's call it $200-$300 when I go to the grocery store. If I'm getting like several weeks worth of food, a week or more, it depends on where you go. We have a Safeway, we have a Natural Grocers, and we have a Walmart here. All of those are options. And when you live here, you can kind of decide, where you want to go for your produce, where you want to go for this item versus that item, and kind of game it a little bit. But that gives you an idea of just, overall food cost here. Now, one variable that people consider when you're thinking of, driving to that grocery store is how much does it cost for gas? Well, first of all, I want to point out that, as I mentioned in some of my other videos, there's not really a lot of traffic here. There's no traffic here. And depending on where you live, you might not even have much of a commute. So if you're obviously outside of the downtown Salida area, you might have a little bit of a commute to go to the grocery store, but budgeting in gas because of the grocery store run is not necessarily a need. If you are obviously, if you say find a house in Howard and you're driving and commuting to Salida every day, then maybe you want to budget in some gas a little bit more. So it depends on your transportation needs. But gas here runs about $3 a gallon, give or take. And so, that can give you an idea of how much it costs. But again, if you live downtown and you can bike, it's a very bike-friendly area, then you can avoid worrying about that variable of your budget as much as maybe you did when you live in the city and you have like a 45-minute commute every day. By the way, not being in traffic, amazing. Okay, another huge one is healthcare. So we do live in a rural mountain area. We have the Heart of the Rockies Regional Medical Center as our primary health provider, and they kind of are an umbrella for a bunch of different health providers. I'd say healthcare here is slightly more expensive than in the city. So if you are in need of a specialist, or you are in need of kind of a specific x-ray or blood work or anything that's like kind of beyond the general, I have heard that it's less expensive to go to the city. Even if they do provide it here, it might be worth checking to see if it's cheaper in the Denver metro area or Colorado Springs. Some people go to those places to get something that's a little bit more substantial. So I do talk about healthcare more in my pro-con video, but as a whole, this area would be a little bit more expensive for healthcare. There are fewer insurance providers as well. So that's something kind of when you are looking to move here, find out that, make sure that your health insurance covers this area. And if you do need to switch providers, kind of looking into that as well. Okay, so and if you're moving here, you're going to want to go out to eat. You're going to want to go out a little bit. Say the average, one person having a meal, you're looking at, depending on where you go, obviously $20 to $30 a meal if you're talking about like a dinner, an entree, and a drink. So similar to what you'd find in a city. So we obviously have fewer restaurants here than the city, but the ones that are here are really good. And so you can get away with less than that depending on where you go, but that's just a good round number to budget. I'd say $20 to $30 to go out to eat. Okay, and lastly, rentals. So many times people reach out to me when they are wanting to move here, but not everybody wants to buy before they move somewhere. They want to rent first and kind of get a feel for the area or just get here first. So for rentals, I'd say, depending on what you're looking for, as all of these things are. So if you're looking for an average like 3-bed, 2-bath, I'd say you're looking more at $3,000 a month for a rental, perhaps more if it's a nicer home, again, depending on where it's located. You can find, studio apartments or studio living situations. We don't have big apartment complexes here, but studio living situations, things like that, for less than that, depending on, what you're wanting. You can find stuff in the 2,000 range per month. So it really depends on the size and the location of it. But you're not going to find rentals for a lot less than $1,000. It's a hard one here to do. So I'd say anywhere between $1,500 to $3,000, depending on the size of the property that you're going to be looking at or that you're going to need. So keep that in mind when you're looking to rent here. And so as a huge reminder, the cost of living is obviously based on how you live, what you need, how big your family is, what your preferences are, and that sort of thing. So Salida, Colorado as a whole compared to places, say in Summit County. So we have a ski mountain here. You can compare us to like Breckenridge, or even compare us to Crested Butte, another small mountain town next to a ski area. We are less expensive than that to live there. You're comparing us to Denver, I'd say close, perhaps even a little less depending on what part of Denver metro area we're talking about. Compared to Colorado Springs, perhaps a little bit more. And then, compared to like a Canyon City or a Pueblo or an Alamosa, we're going to be more expensive. So like many places, it's all relative on what you're talking about, but we are, coming here, you're moving to a desirable rural mountain area. And so with that, there are some things that are more expensive and there are some things that are less. So it kind of depends on the item. So keep all of that in mind. It depends how you want to live, but you are moving to a gorgeous, amazing, desirable place if you do decide to come here. And with that said, if you are thinking of coming here, please reach out to me. I'm happy to be a resource for you. That's what I'm here for. So either way, I do really appreciate you watching this video and taking the time. And if you want to leave a positive comment below, I'd love to hear from you. Let's keep it positive. This can often be a touchy subject, but I'm trying to provide some helpful information for somebody who's coming here and looking to live here. And please reach out to me with any questions that you might have. I really appreciate your time, and thanks for watching.